Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify, Apple, or Google, please leave a 5-star rating and review. It supports the podcast and it doesn't cost you anything. This content is brought to you by Uphold, which is a great platform that allows you to buy, sell, trade crypto. In fact, Uphold is still one of the only exchanges that you can buy and sell XRP. Right now, they're running a great promotion where you can get $50 in Bitcoin when you spend at least $600. Now, I can vouch for this platform because I've been using it since 2017. They have 10 plus million users, 250 plus cryptocurrencies, and they're available in 150 countries. If you'd like to learn more about Uphold, please visit the link in the description. All right, my friends, we got some big news in the SEC Ripple lawsuit. So attorney James K. Filan tweeted out, Ripple defendants file letter notice of supplemental authority in further support of their fair notice defense. It's the decision of Judge Michael Wiles in the Voyager bankruptcy case where Judge Wiles rejected the SEC's objections and approved the bankruptcy plan. Now, to give you guys some context and refresh your memory, if you recall, the SEC officials tried to block the Binance US Voyager acquisition, which would then launch the bankruptcy plan to help the users whose funds are stuck on Voyager to be able to get some of those funds back. Well, of course, the SEC was trying to block that because they tried to throw in their securities law here, trying to say that the Voyager token was a security, but Voyager's done. They're wiped out. The Voyager token is garbage now, and the users need to get their funds back. But of course, the SEC doesn't care about the users or investors. They just want their pound of flesh. They want their cut, and they were trying to block this deal. And the judge rightfully excoriated the SEC officials, calling them out like, you're wasting my time. You have no evidence. You have no clarity. How is anyone supposed to know what is a security and what's not? You have not put out the clarity around that. So the judge clearly not putting up with the SEC's bullshit and calling them out. Well, the folks at Ripple and their attorneys are using the judge's objections in the lawsuit that the SEC filed against them. And attorney John Deaton weighed in and he said, I'm hoping Judge Torres was already very aware of the ruling by Judge Wiles of the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the Southern District of New York, the same district as Judge Torres. In the Voyager bankruptcy, Ripple offers the ruling in further support of its fair notice defense. Now, of course, the fair notice defense is a key element of Ripple's defense, of course, right? That the SEC has not put out any type of guidelines, and that goes for the entire market. So that's why we need Ripple to win, guys. This crypto market, altcoins need Ripple to win. It will give them the ammo to fight back against the SEC because the SEC is coming after everything, including Ethereum, which had gotten a free pass on Bill Hinman and Jay Clayton. But now Gensler refuses to say Ethereum is not a security. So everything's on the table here except Bitcoin. So if you're a Cardano holder, you're a Chainlink holder, you're Algo holding HBAR, everything's on the table here, folks. So John continues, he says, if Judge Torres is the ongoing working draft, in the ongoing working draft of her decision, criticizes the SEC's approach and inconsistent behavior / attitude toward digital assets, she can cite the Voyager ruling as further corroborative evidence of her criticism. John continues, he says, I predicted over a year ago that Judge Torres will rule in favor of Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson. I believe Judge Torres will rule that no reasonable jury could conclude that two executives were reckless in not knowing XRP was a security when the SEC itself didn't. This is good news because we got these two judges in the same district having similar sentiments, right? Remember, Judge Torres called out the SEC and said they were hypocrites, right? They want to have it both ways. Especially with the Hinman situation. So we know the SEC is shady. We know they're rotten at their core. They've fallen far from their core values of protecting investors. And it's a shame. It's disgusting to see a government agency act this way. They're supposed to have the integrity, right? But clearly they lack that. Now, I'm not saying everybody at the SEC, but clearly Gary Gensler and some of these commissioners, and I exclude Commissioner Hester Peirce and I believe Mark Ueda, if I'm saying his name right, because we've seen where they stand and having a more reasonable, level-headed, thought on how the crypto market should be regulated. So, Attorney Jeremy Hogan also weighed in on this. He said Ripple finally filed a Voyager bankruptcy judge's decision. The judge uses abnormally strong language, stating that the U.S. regulators themselves cannot even agree on what criteria to use in deciding whether crypto is a security. And he put here in parentheses, fair notice. And also, we are getting close. So any day now, we may hear, my friends, I think could be at the end of the month, this month, March 31st, or maybe into early April. A lot of people have been saying at the end of March, guys, we could hear. And this is good news that these judges, once again, are in alignment with their thoughts here. And this just further bolsters Ripple's fair notice defense, which, a lot of crypto companies out there could use, if they get attacked by Gary Gensler. So good news for sure. Now let's move ahead. Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida. Well, surprisingly, he came out today and said no CBDCs in Florida, right? He came out against central bank digital currencies, and he did a press conference where he talked about the banking situation. And, on his podium, there's a big sign that says Big Brother's digital dollar. So very interesting. So here's the headline. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis proposes law to ban CBDCs. The Biden administration is studying the possibility of introducing a central bank digital currency. Now, a couple of things here, guys. I believe CBDCs are inevitable. I'm not saying I love CBDCs or I want them, right? My big concern, for those of you who've been following the podcast and listening to my interviews, I'm concerned about our right to privacy here in the United States and these CBDCs upholding that, because it's very easy for the government to get this power and for it to go out of control and lead to some draconian dystopian future, right? It may not happen 10 years from now. It could happen 50 years from now when this CBDC is in place, that they will use this against the people and limiting what you can spend and all those things. So, in the spirit of what Ron DeSantis is doing here, I kind of agree, but I also, I look at the reality and I know CBDCs are inevitable. They're coming, guys. Every central bank is working on this. It could be a solution to help solve this banking crisis that we're seeing. So I expect a lot of CBDCs to be launched this year. Now, can a state ban a CBDC? Nope. And in fact, a lawyer here, Haley Lennon, who I've interviewed on the podcast, she weighs in on this. She said, as a reminder, a state can't make Bitcoin legal tender. That right rests with Congress under the Coinage Act. Similarly, if the U.S. introduces a CBDC, a state can't ban it. That said, pressure/messaging from states is a good thing for general awareness. So once again, in the spirit of what Ron DeSantis is doing here, I agree. But can he ban it? No, of course, no state can ban it. But we have to fight, and we have to say, hey, we need privacy, right? You and I can do a transaction via cash. And why does the government need to know that unless we're doing something illegal? But if I don't want all my transaction, everything I'm buying and everything I'm doing and all that stuff being tracked by the government to be used against me. And once again, in a form of CBDC, they can set all type of parameters where you have to use the funds by a certain time, or it gets burned, right? We know about token burning. They can do all these things, my friends. And I think some of it we're seeing in China, with the social credit system. That's not a world I want to live in. Now, let's move ahead. We've got some adoption news here. Microsoft Edge testing built-in Ethereum crypto wallet. Screenshots show reports of an impending Web3 wallet for the Edge browser comes a month after the tech giant wound down its Metaverse unit. So adoption continues, guys. There's companies building out here despite all the craziness that's going on, because they know, look, the economy, the markets, they all move in cycles. We're in a bear market right now. Yes, it's rough, but guess what? Bull market will come back. Good times will come back. It's all cycle. Once you look at it from the macro, you look throughout history and all the different crashes, right? 2008, 1987, just go down the list. You guys know about this. So The wallet is currently in a limited testing phase and is not yet available to the public, IT media outlet Bleeping Computer reported Friday. First reported by Microsoft sleuth Albacore, who shared screenshots of the wallet on Twitter. Microsoft is asking testers via its Edge browser to put up their own assets. Here is a quote: "We encourage you to test our first Web3 wallet and provide candid feedback along the journey," Microsoft said in one of the screenshots. "As the first testers, you have the opportunity or unique opportunity to shape our foray into cryptocurrencies and NFTs." That's bullish, my friends. Microsoft is a huge company. I don't think I need to go through the history of how big Microsoft is. And, most likely if you have a laptop, you have some of their software on your laptop and your computer or phone too. So this is big. And guys, this shows, watch what they do, not what they say. I don't care what some of these folks come out and they, say these different statements. It's all smoke and mirrors. What are they actually building? What are they investing in? Who are they hiring? Are they acquiring companies? How much budget, how much capital they're raising, and so on and so forth. Here's another example of adoption news. Immutable and Polygon Labs team up to expand Web3 gaming ecosystem. The strategic partnership is aimed at simplifying the process of onboarding game studios and developers into Web3. This is a pretty big partnership. I'm bullish on Polygon Matic. You guys know that I've been accumulating. I believe they're getting huge partnerships, user adoption. And I think that's going to do well for the token Matic, which is the native token on Polygon. So according to a press release, Immutable will power its platform products using Polygon's zero-knowledge technology to simplify the process of onboarding game studios and developers in Web3. The alliance aims to provide an option for businesses to accelerates time to market and gives them access to an ecosystem that will be one of the largest and most liquid for end users, according to the press release. Sounds very bullish, guys. And this is the news you want to see, the building for real world businesses and getting adoption. Here's some more quotes. By combining the #1 Web3 gaming platform, currently serving hundreds of game studios and millions of players, with Polygon's best-in-class zero knowledge proof EVM technology, we are building an Ethereum-centric gaming system that is poised to take Web3 mainstream and bring digital ownership to millions of people around the world, said Robbie Ferguson, Immutable president and co-founder. Billions of dollars of skins are sold each year with no rights for players. We're changing that so players are in control and ownership is in the expectation. Big news here, my friends. And, Polygon Matic is the scaling solution, the layer 2 solution for Ethereum. So I love seeing news like this. And the gaming industry is huge. And it's going to be a big part of the adoption of crypto, Web3, blockchain, and so forth. Now, let's jump ahead here. We got some news around the banking situation. Near Community Bank will acquire Signature, but not crypto holdings. So that's interesting. An estimated $4 billion in crypto assets will remain under the receivership of the FDIC. I wonder what's going to happen to those assets. The latest deal includes all $38.4 billion in Signature's assets and $12.9 billion in loans, which were purchased at a significant discount of $2.7 billion. What's not included in the acquisition is approximately $60 billion in loans, which will remain under the receivership of the FDIC until later distribution, and $4 billion in deposits of Signature's cryptocurrency business. So we'll see what happens here, guys. And this is all related to Operation Choke Point in trying to stifle crypto companies, cut off their banking. And, Elizabeth Warren and these folks were pushing bank runs. And then that caused a big domino effect where I think it exposed the true problem that was happening within the banking industry. And that is rates just destroying the banks, the high rates and the rapid raising of those rates by the Fed, and also the collapsing of bonds. JP Morgan and these big banks like Citi, HSBC still welcome crypto clients. So crypto companies need banks for reasons, including custody and settlement. So the big banks, no problem, right? But, I've been talking a bit about this where I feel the the regional banks are being targeted and are being put under, and then these big banks are not going to come and scoop them up, right? It's an opportunity, and the bigger banks like JP Morgan, Citi, and so forth will become even more powerful. And this could be a way to funnel all the businesses, including crypto and so forth, through these big banks. I think that's a bit of what's happening here. And even like, we talked about it, former U.S. Representative Barney Frank claimed the regulatory takeover signature was intended to send a message to U.S. banks to steer clear from crypto businesses. But we know that they can't outright ban banking to crypto. That's unconstitutional. And there's a lot of FOIA requests and a lot of legal things ramping up right now. So I personally think it's just to slow crypto down, as we've been talking about. Gensler, Elizabeth Warren are best friends. And, that's the game plan here. So these bigger folks can come in, the incumbents can come in and take over. Yeah, you can't imagine that. Can you imagine that JP Morgan just sits by and lets regional banks, bank crypto companies, which are on the rise, and we know this asset class and technology is on the rise, and they just sit back with the few crypto companies they have? No, they want all of it, right? They want to make that money, guys. So there's a lot of layers to this whole banking situation, and I think we're starting to see the full picture as the news comes out about who's buying who and what's happening. Now, Bitcoin, real quick, right now it broke through, it had broken through 28,000. Right now, seeing a little small red candle, big move, of course, over the past week, a big green candle, and we'll see what happens later this week as the Fed makes the announcement on rate hikes. But I think Bitcoin's, on target with its retracement here, guys, and we could continue to see a move upwards. We just got to be patient. I'm hoping for the 40 to 50K range, which I'll be taking some profits. And I like what Binance CEO CZ said. He said, they buy debt, we buy crypto, not financial advice. So, of course, talking about, what's been going on with the banking system and the governments and so forth. But that's the news, guys. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button, share this video, and I'll talk to you all later.